Hey friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my July art journaling spread. So today I have a few things pulled out that I may want to use. I've got my usual washi tape. I've got a whole bunch of ephemera. I've got some different papers and maps and some tickets and stamps. We'll see what we use on that. I've got my Stabilo Woodies out again. I thought those might be nice to play with. And for my personal item, because I always like to include something from my life, I have a napkin from a restaurant that my family visited when we were on vacation this year. And I thought that would be nice to kind of incorporate as well. And then I have some papers here from the Minte Seaside Escape, which have kind of like a nautical theme to them, which corresponds with the vacation that we had, which I'll talk about a little bit more. I've talked about it before, but I can talk about it again as we get in. So those are the papers that I plan to use for my focal images. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm going to jump in and get started. For those of you who have never seen one of my art journaling videos before, I'm pretty new to it. I just started in January of 2020, so this year, and I've only done one a month, so this is going to be number 7. This is the journal that I'm using. It's made out of watercolor paper. I'll have a link to it down below. But there was the June spread. That one was a lot of fun to work on. So I'm going to open up to July. And then I'm going to just lay down a protective covering on my work surface before we get started. And we'll jump right in. Alright, so I have laid out my Tonic Studios craft mat just to protect my work surface from any glues or stains or paints or whatever I end up using today. And I do want to let you know in advance that my dog Gemma is here in the craft room with me, so if you hear any weird little noises, it's probably her paws clicking across the floors, or sometimes she does little sighs and things, but she's my craft room buddy and she likes to be in here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just seal the spine of my book. I do this every time just because I don't like to have a bunch of inks or whatever leak down, water, you know, anything that I decide to use, to have that leak down into the spine, especially because my notebook has perforated pages, so it just kind of prevents any lifting up or kind of separation of those perforations. I'm just going to trim this little bit here down with scissors because it's too small to tear. So that's always my first step, and then I'm going to go ahead and just stick a few more pieces on here in this background to just give it some texture and, you know, some interest. I try not to let myself get too overwhelmed with the beginning and, you know, like trying to figure out where to place things. I just kind of go for it and see what happens. So there's a little bit of that. Maybe one more piece. And we'll put some over here. And I don't even mind if it gets kind of wrinkly or whatever, because that's just adding texture to my page, and that is totally fine. And we'll stick another piece right here. And then we'll start with some of this ephemera and stick some of this stuff down. I think this one is a sticker, so I just need to find the edge. So how are you guys doing this month? I'm very excited to chat with you today and see what you all have been up to, what kind of projects you've been working on, what kind of summer plans you've got. I know this is a season for weddings and graduations and reunions and so much going on, so let me know what's happening in your world. I would love to hear it. Chatting with you guys as we do these art journaling videos is just really, really enjoyable for me. I just love getting to know you guys and feel like we're hanging out together and just kind of forming bonds and a friendship. And my middle son is up in the kitchen doing his chores before he leaves for work, so I apologize if any of that comes across on the microphone. It's really hard in the summertime to find quiet time. My oldest son is on vacation with his friends, so he's not here, but the younger two are in the house right now, so can't be helped. You know, it's just the life that I've got right now, and I love my kids, so I definitely do embrace it, but yeah, it can be noisy at times. So I'm gonna layer this one right here, and it's gonna overlap some of the other washi tape, which is great because it's transparent, so you can see some of the other washi tape showing through, and that's just gonna give it texture, so I really enjoy that. Let's see, we'll stick another one maybe right here. So I think that was it for the ones that had their own adhesive. So for the rest, I'm going to use my Elmer's Craft Bond glue stick. I have really been enjoying this one. This is the first one I've tried for art journaling, and I've had no issues with it at all. It's been really good. So let's take this long ticket here. I went through and kind of picked out some blue ephemera because we're going to do kind of a beachy scene today, and that way no matter where it goes, it could be either sand or not sand, sea or sky. So I thought that was kind of nice to have, you know, just kind of blues that could fit wherever. So I'm not sure about this one yet, but I do really like this map. I thought that might be fun to have in a couple of places. So I'm just going to tear that so that I can add it in more than one place on the background. And just like I said, build up those layers. Some of this stuff is going to get covered up because I have kind of an idea of what pages I want to use for my focal panel, but I haven't really kind of committed to anything yet, and I haven't laid it out or anything. I don't like to do too much prep work for these. I like to just jump in and kind of see where the page takes me, because, you know, I'm a card maker most of the time, and when I do my cards, everything is planned out ahead of time. Like, I don't just jump in and figure things out. Well, with the exception of this week's video where I used pre-colored images, that one I kind of, you know, had to do it the opposite way and, you know, figure things out as I did them, which is kind of backwards. But usually I have a plan in place before I begin my cards. And what I like about art journaling is that it's so very different from that. So I just like to go with the flow and see where it takes me. And I will admit, at the beginning it was pretty scary. I was afraid of kind of letting go and seeing what happened. But over time I became really appreciative of the process of just kind of letting the art just kind of go and not being so, I don't know, just I don't know what the word is, but you know, just not planning everything out to the last little bit, you know, just kind of relaxing and embracing imperfections and realizing that nothing is permanent. Everything can be covered up or painted over and layered up. So if you're not happy with something, you can alter it, you know. You're in control. It's your art journal. So I found that to be really freeing. It seems like a very simple concept, but for me that was a little bit tricky to learn, you know, and I'm glad that I finally embraced it. And yeah, it's been very freeing, so that's been really good for me. Let's do a little bit more of this one here. I'm trying to avoid sticking too much down at these bottom places, because here is where I think my focal pieces are going to go. So anything I would add down here is probably going to get covered up. So that's why I've just been a little bit more, you know, concentrating on the top part, you know, and kind of building up what will probably end up being the sky. So, but yeah, oh, I forgot to update you guys in my last video. So in my very first art journaling video, I believe it was my first one, I let you guys in on some health issues that I'd been having. I'd been diabetic for quite some time, but I didn't realize that my diabetes was super out of control, and I had been greatly admonished by my doctor that I needed to make some lifestyle changes, or I was going to face losing my vision or my feet, or, you know, things like that, which affect diabetics. So I made a complete life change, and it was going very well, and I was waiting to get my test results for my A1C when I did my May update, my May art journal, I mean, and then in June I forgot to tell you guys what was going on. So yeah, I'm going to update you now, even though it's been a month already. But yeah, my A1C dropped from 9.9 to 6.1. So for those of you who don't really know what that means, it's really, really good. My doctor could not believe it. She was really impressed, and it was a great, great feeling to make those changes and see the results happen. So thank you guys so much for all of your well wishes, and for constantly asking how I was doing and encouraging me to keep going and all of that, because yeah, I really felt your support, and it meant the world to me, and yeah, it was wonderful. So I've actually been able to reduce the amount of insulin that I had to take. I'm not off it completely, but that is the goal, to someday be off of it. But yeah, I was able to reduce it by not quite half, but almost. So yeah, that was really exciting, and I'm going to keep going and keep trying to do my best and hope that the results continue to show up. So I have to do another one. Let's see, June, July, August, September. I have to do another one in September. So that's when I'll see if it's dropped even lower, or maybe not, since I've reduced my insulin. But if I could maintain about that, that would be really great, and I'd be happy with that. So I think we'll do a little bit more. I do like this border, and I think it ties in nicely with those papers. So I'm going to just add that, and it may get covered up, like I said, because this might be where my focal image is going, but that's okay. It's just going to build up some more layers. So I'm thinking maybe something just right up there as well. Maybe we'll do part of this circle. That might be kind of cool. So yeah, so that was my health update. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Like I said, it was wonderful to have you guys in my corner rooting me on. All right, so I think I'm going to go to my pattern paper pad now and kind of narrow down what I might want to use, so that I kind of know what to do with these sections. So this is the paper pad here, and this is the first page that I know that I want to use. I really like the lighthouse. I live in a lakeside community. I live near Lake Erie, so I thought that would be cool to have. So I know I want that, and then I thought I might do this one over on this page. So something like that. but obviously I'm not going to use all of it. I don't want to use all this stuff at the top here. I'm more concerned with this bottom part. So I'm just trying to decide if I want to cut it out or if I want to tear it. I don't know. If I cut it, I would probably follow the horizon line and just, but that would eliminate like the birds, which I do want. And I'd like some of that sky to show, even if I tear it off and put it on separately. I think I'm going to tear it. I'm going to tear it loosely kind of, and then we'll go from there. And if I need to, if I change my mind and decide to kind of narrow it, you know, I can always just trim it out afterwards. So I'm just going to kind of cut down a little bit and see how that goes. So I'm tearing down the side because I don't like straight lines. I like to have a little bit of, it almost gives the page a deckled edge. I always leave a little bit of roughness on my pages to kind of just, I don't know, it adds texture to the book. So I'd like to do that. So let's tear over here now. I do want this bird, this bigger one, if I can save him, but I think I'm going to add him separately. I think we're just going to go ahead and tear that. Let's see how that's looking. So far, so good. I don't know that I want this rope here at the bottom, though. I think I'm going to go ahead and remove most of that. There's that, and then maybe a little bit up this side as well. Just because I don't want it sticking into the spine of my book, because it's going to prevent my book from closing nicely if I go all the way into the corner. Alright, I'm liking that. And then we have all this texture up at the top, which of course I will knock back a bit. And then on this side, we'll do the same. We'll just take down some of these bits here. And then we'll bring this down. And again, I want to save that seagull, but I'm going to have to tear him off for now and then probably add him in later on. Okay, so we'll hang on to that. I'm going to lose that tiny one right there, but it can't be helped because I definitely don't want that edge. And then I'll take off the bottom of this one as well. There we go. Let's see how that is. Yep. I think they're still too long. So let's take off a little bit more. Gemma's moving around in there. Switching places. She likes to lay, I have a little bed for her in the corner under my desk, and she likes to lay there, but then she gets a little bit hot in the summer, so she moves over to the cool floor and she kind of moves back and forth. I think I'm going to take a little bit more off of this side here. That's looking better. I almost wonder if I want to tear out these birds though and add them separately. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Alright, give me a moment to think about it and see what I'm gonna do. You know what? I think I am going to tear out those birds because I completely forgot to add my napkin. So I definitely want to do that. So I'm just going to cut out the part that I want to use loosely here. And see where I can add that, because it is kind of large. I can throw the rest of it away. I left it long so I can hopefully separate any plies. Are there more plies? Let's see. I think there's at least 2. Isn't there? I always have a hard time separating. Oh, yep, there we go. There we go. There's 3. So I only want the 1. So I'm just going to carefully remove that. And if you want to see another video where I used a napkin as the actual focal image, I think that was was it April or May with the bunnies? I think it might have been April. I did one on that one. That one ended up being one of my favorites. So, okay, so there we go. So I'm gonna just carefully tear off what I don't need. And this is from a restaurant that we went to on our family vacation in February. It's on the island of Captiva, which is also half of the island is Captiva and half of it is Sanibel. And it was such a beautiful place. I would go back there in a heartbeat. I'm not the kind of person who usually visits places more than once unless family lives there or something, because I just love to travel so much and there's so many places to go. But yeah, that was a wonderful, wonderful vacation, and it just felt so much like home. I don't know what it was about that island, but it just felt amazing. I don't know. It just was so comforting and homey. It's small, so it's easy to get around, and I don't know, we just had the best time. Everything is, you know, very short walking or driving distance, although traffic is pretty slow on there because the speed limits are slow. So it does take you a little bit sometimes to get to places, but I mean, it just has everything. It had amazing bookstores and shopping and restaurants and ice cream parlors and just everything you could possibly want, plus the beach, and it was absolutely wonderful. We had the most wonderful time. So I think I'm going to put that somewhere up there. So I'm going to grab some clear gesso to adhere that with. Alright, so the gesso I'm using is the Dina Wakley Media Clear Gesso. I got one of my hairs stuck in there. Does anybody else ever have that issue? My hair gets everywhere, and the dog's hair gets everywhere, so it's just one of those things. So I'm going to gently add some gesso where I want this napkin to go. It's going to act as an adhesive, and then I'm going to lay that down up toward the top. So part of it is going to get cut off, but I think we'll see the majority. And actually I can probably cut that. I'm just going to set that in the water. And maybe I can use that one more place then on the card just to tie it in somewhere else. But so yeah, I'm just going to kind of press that down into the gesso, and then I'll add another layer on top. But a few years ago, my family started taking vacations in February to get away from the snow, because we live in a very snowy town. We're the top snowiest city in America several years going. So to kind of just get away from that for a little bit, and I think maybe I'm just going to add it right here because there's an empty spot right there. To kind of get away from the snow, we started doing a family vacation somewhere warm. So last year, or not last year, this year, to Captiva, and it was one of my favorites. I don't know, the year before that we went to the Florida Keys. We stayed on Key Largo, but we drove all the way down to Key West, and that was amazing too. So I'm so grateful to my dad and stepmom, who they usually book the house, which enables us to be able to afford to do such a nice family vacation. But yeah, it was amazing. Both of those were just incredible. It was just wonderful to get out of the snow and be in the warm weather, and yeah, it was glorious, to be honest. So let's see now. I think I'm going to add those there, and then I have to see what to do with these birds. I might split them up in a couple spots so that they don't go completely across that, which I will knock that back a bit, probably with some gesso, because it's a little bit too bright, but I still don't want to put like the birds right across it. So I think I'm going to split these birds up. But first, let's go ahead and adhere this, because I'm happy with how that's looking. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. But yeah, when we went to Captiva, there was a restaurant called the Bubble Room, which was very close to our house. It was just down the street and across the street from our house that we were staying at. And it was a really quirky restaurant. It's probably not something that I would love going to all the time, but for something like unique on vacation, it was really cool. It was almost like a carnival atmosphere. There was lots of like memorabilia around, and the tables were like a glass case filled with all kinds of tickets and toys and like, what am I trying to think of? Pamphlets for different kind of events and things, and pieces of old games, and just really, really full of kitschy kind of stuff. And it was like, I think there was like a carousel in one part of it, like above the stairway. I think there was a carousel and like almost like a Mad Hatter's tea party set up, and it was just really unique and fun, and the food was really good. So I saved the napkin from there. They had really good cake as well. They're apparently famous for their cake. I had the rum, I forget what it was called, but it was like a rum cake, and it was really delicious. We all kind of got something different so we could share and try different things. And then right next door to the Bubble Room is also a ice cream parlor that is owned by the Bubble Room. So we went there a couple times as well. Of course, this was before I got my, where the doctor let me know that my diabetes was so out of control. But at the time I was on vacation, so I wasn't so concerned about, well, I didn't know that, that I was doing so bad. But I was kind of just letting myself live a little because it was vacation. But yeah, I had ice cream once or twice there. It was really good. So if you ever get a chance to go to Sanibel or Captiva, I do highly recommend it. It was such a wonderful vacation. There was this bookstore there called Jean's Books, and it was 5 buildings. There were, I think it was 2 on one side of the street and 3 buildings on the opposite side of the street, like a little ways down, but it was all owned by the same store, and that was really cool. I could have been in there hours. I of course, was with my family, so I didn't get to stay as long as I would have liked to. But oh my gosh, it was amazing. I would love to go back. Let's see what else. So, what else did we do there? My whole family went paragliding. I didn't do it, but I did go on the boat. I was a little bit of a scaredy cat, so I did not do it myself, but they had fun. But it was a very cold, wet, windy day, so yeah, they tried to convince me, but I didn't go for it. I just couldn't. I don't know. I'm not necessarily afraid of heights, but I am terrified of for me, the scariest part was like being over open water and the fact that you could come down and land in the water and anything could be there. I mean, I know my brother is a shark diver, but I am not so brave. Sharks are probably my biggest fear in the world, even though it's kind of an irrational fear because I'm not ever around them. I mean, well, kind of. I've been snorkeling and stuff, and it is terrifying to me. But yeah, I was too afraid. I just couldn't do it. So we've got 2 more seagulls in here. Do I want to try to figure out a place to use them? Let's go ahead and tear them out of this. Let's see. Maybe something in here. Maybe just use them separately. I don't know. I'm not sure that they're going to work, and I lost half of that guy anyway, so I don't know that he's probably toast. But there is one more up here. I could maybe add him somewhere. Maybe right in there. Or do I want to go up even higher? Maybe up there, actually. Okay, and then I thought it might be fun to add some of the backside with this navy and white stripe to kind of create some borders. So maybe something up there would be nice. And there's also like a wood and white border. Let's see. Right now I really like this navy. Get another piece of that. See where I can put it. Maybe up there. See, it's just trial and error, kind of just testing things out and figuring out where you want them to go, but not thinking too long about it, you know? Like, I just don't want to get so unsure of myself that I just decide not to do it, you know? But I think I want that to be a little bit... And my camera just died because it shuts off automatically every 10 minutes. And I wasn't paying attention. But anyway... we also went to a cool restaurant there that was called Doc Ford's, a different one than the Bubble Room, which was owned by a local author. I forget what his name was. It was something Wayne or Wayne something. I think Wayne was the last name. Oh, darn it. I can't believe I forgot. But Doc Ford is the main character in his book series, and that's what he named the restaurant after. So that was kind of cool. But, and yeah, the food was good there too. You know what? Maybe not. I don't know. Here? Maybe right there. Alright, you know what? I think I've got enough going on, or do I want any more of this sky? Maybe. That restaurant had really good food too. It was kind of like a bar and grill type restaurant, like a wouldn't say like an Applebee's, it was definitely nicer than an Applebee's, but along those lines, with that same kind of fare. I had shrimp tacos there that were really good. I don't know. I don't really see anything I want to cover up too much of. There, maybe? I think I'm going to add one more piece down here, just to kind of tie it in from the ones at the top, and maybe another one on this side as well. Since we've got kind of like conglomeration of stuff in the corners, I think it goes well to have just different textures and prints mixed in. So maybe like just right there. Okay. Do I want one more bit? Oh. Make sure that that is stuck down. One more bit in here. Or maybe on this side. Maybe I'll stick it right there. And maybe just this tiny little bit on this side for some balance, just so I have it, you know, in multiple places. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to grab some white gesso and we'll knock some of this back. All right, so the gesso I'm using is from Pro Art. You can use any white gesso that you have. It's always so hard to get that open. All right. And I'm just going to take a little bit of what's in the lid and apply that with my finger. So I'm just going to kind of work my way around and try to blur some of the lines here between the different papers and ephemera. Just kind of soften a few places. Get things to blend a bit better. So you could absolutely use a brush if you prefer. But like I always say, I just prefer the control that I get with my finger. Just knocking things back a bit. Just trying to apply a very little amount and then just smear that around. And if I get too much, I can take it away if I act quickly enough. Definitely want to blend in the edge of this focal piece paper into the top part so it looks less disjointed. See, you can already see a difference between these two pages. You know, this one just has a little bit of extra softness to it. that I think just helps the page look more cohesive. I know I use that word a lot. Ooh, that one is not dry. Let's get that back up there before it does dry. I think part of the reason it didn't dry is because I had the clear gesso up there as well when I was adhering that piece, so it was just a little bit more wet. I'm also going to take this bubble room napkin back a bit as well, just because full strength it's a bit much on the page, but it's definitely, you know, a happy memory, so I want it to be visible. I just want to, you know, knock it back a bit. Make it not quite so vibrant. I'm glad that these pages had seagulls on them, because so far I've used animals on every page, and I am a huge animal lover, so that makes sense. But you know, some of them aren't as prominent, like last month's with the books. It just has a, you know, a cat on it. It's not the main image by any means, but it was nice to tie an animal in there somewhere. And the same with these, you know, the seagulls are definitely not what your eye goes to first, but I'm happy that they're there, even though seagulls are really not my favorite. We just have so many of them here, and they're kind of a nuisance, but in theory I like them. On paper, you know, I like the image of them, just not when they're flocking over you. There was this one time when I was a child, we were at the beach, and I think my mom tried to feed one of them or something some chips or whatever, and then this great cloud of them descended and just like flocked all over, and it was pretty traumatizing to a small child. I was pretty young at that time. So since then they have not been my favorite animal by any means, but like I said, they're a lot cuter on paper or stamps or something like that than they are to me in real life. Let's see, anything else? Something in here maybe a little bit softer. Kind of smearing that a little bit and trying to lighten it up a bit so that it's, you know, just a thin layer to kind of help it blend a little bit more. We'll say that this is definitely more prominent than my usual personal things that I add in, but I don't know, I don't really want to lose it, so I don't really think I want to knock it back too far. I don't know. I guess we'll see as the page progresses where it takes us. But for now, I'm not going to overdo it too much. A little bit more in there. That's helping soften it a bit. All right, I think I might stop there for now, and I'm going to add a layer of clear gesso over top to kind of just seal everything in and get ready for the next step. I'm just going to go back to my clear gesso, and that white gesso is so thin that it dries super fast. It's pretty much dry already. You can see nothing is smearing or anything. So I'm going to just go back to my brush, and I'll add a nice thin layer over top, making sure to cover everything, especially in the spine where those papers you know, can lift up easily with the, you know, kind of just the movement of the book as you open and close it over time. So I want to make sure everything is sealed down really well. I do love going to the beach though. I think it's just so peaceful. And if you can hear that, Gemma is snoring in her sleep. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I just love the waves and the sound of the water lapping the shore. I love looking for seashells. I'm not a big like person that likes to lay out unless I've got a book, and then I usually want some shade because I can get overheated really quickly. But give me some shade and a nice cold drink and a book and I would be happy to spend the entire day. All right, I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna go wash my hands and maybe heat set it if it needs it. Probably it will, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so I did have to heat set that just to get that to dry, which it is now. And how I do that is I just take my heat gun and I keep moving it across the page. I'm not going to do it on screen because mine is very loud, but just keep it moving so that you don't scorch anything that you've already done, you know, because that would cause some issues. You know, it'd be hard to cover up that brown. Plus you would, you know, ruin some of the imagery on your page. So that feels pretty much dry to me now. There's just a few little sticky spots, but nothing too bad. I think we can go ahead and move on. So I thought I might use my Stabilo Woodies today. These are pencil crayons, and you can smear them with your finger or you can water them down and use them with a paintbrush. I usually, like I said, I just use my fingers. And I like to try to create a border around the edges by darkening them up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this darkest shade first here. So just going to go around and pick a few places here and there to add that darker blue color, which I think is going to help frame everything in really nicely. Up there it's a little bit wet still, I can feel that. So I missed the edges, and I probably should have had something in between. Yes, I did get some, ooh, see, I did get clear gesso on the previous page, so I should have had something in between to kind of protect those pages. Even though I'm done using it now, I'm going to go ahead and stick it in there just so it doesn't adhere to itself. So I'm just going to stick, this is just parchment paper. So I'll do that. And I don't know if I have to worry about it as much on this side. Oh, yep, I did get some up there. See, I should have done that before I did my clear gesso. So let me just stick that in there for now while it's drying then. And I'll wipe my hands off on the rest of that napkin. All right, let's continue. All right, so I think I want some more of the dark blue down here. I think that's adding a nice echo to like this blue boat and the darker blue in the water. So we'll do some more down here. And you can add as little or as much as you like. I like to try to mix it up. You know, some places I'll do a bigger section and some just a smaller section. Okay, and then maybe we'll switch to this blue here and see how that one looks. That is still wet. That's the spot that I really missed up there, but that's all right. The wetness is actually going to help it smear. It's just not going to be as bold as where it's dry. Put some of that down here. If you don't have the Stabilos, you could also use gelatos. I use those a lot for this as well. They work very much the same. I really don't notice a big difference in them. I feel like they both go on and smear equally well. The only difference I've found is that my set of gelatos is an iridescent set. So, you know, it adds like a little bit of a shimmer. I don't know if I want to use too much of this one. I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to use it in a very small amount of space first, but this color isn't really represented in the background, hardly at all. Maybe a little bit in like the shaded parts of the house and on the white part of the lighthouse. I kind of do like it though. So we'll just add it in a few little places and see. If you smear it out enough, it almost gives you like a sky color, and it does mimic some of the blue that was in that napkin. A little bit more down here in the corner to give that some weight. Maybe right in here. All right. And then do I want to add, maybe I'll add a little bit in here too, just to kind of blue up this paper and help it look a bit more like a sky. Just a few little places. Picking and choosing. And I don't think I'll do the dark blue because I feel like that might be too strong in the sky, but maybe just a little bit of this one too in a few places. Even on that map. Looks like I lost the other part of the M. It kind of got ripped up a little bit. That was very delicate paper, so that can happen sometimes. It's fine. I can still read what it is. And the point is that it, you know, this is for me. So, you know, your art journal is for you. You put in it what you want, and I'm still going to remember this vacation every time I look at this page, you know, and that's the point of it. So if every little bit of it isn't there, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to cry about it. It's fine. And I can see that some of this did not adhere that well. So actually what I'm going to do with that, I found that sometimes in the seams, using my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue works well because it's super fine with this nozzle, and I can get into those tiny places and then just press them down and make sure that that is well adhered. So there we go. But yeah, now that it's summertime, I've been thinking so much about this vacation because, you know, you're wearing shorts and t-shirts, and you know, the weather is similar to what it was there, although it was a little bit chilly when we were there. If we could go back again, we would definitely go slightly later. We went at the beginning of February, and the weather was like in the 60s most of the time, where we would have preferred 70s or even up into the 80s. But we didn't know. So anyway, it was still wonderful, and we had a great time. So anything else? I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. Is that part of the background, or did I do that? I don't know. That's fine. All right. So I think what I need to do next, I don't think I'm going to do any stenciling or anything today. I feel like there's enough going on here that I don't need to. So maybe I'm just going to go straight to look for a title for these pages. So let me flip through my Tim Holtz Small Talk ideology stickers and see what I might like to use. Let's see, did we do black last month or white black? Okay, I usually flip back and forth between the black and the white. I don't know why. So let's see. Life was meant for great adventure. That one might be good. That one had adventure in it too, but it's not that one. Travel the world over to find the beautiful. That's good. So those two maybe. Let's see. Anything else? The impossible is often the untried. This is what family looks like. That would be good because of it, the family vacation, but I don't know if it really fits with these pages. So the journey is the destination. That one might be good. Okay, I think I'm gonna do these two, and where did I see another one? Always take the scenic route. I thought that would be good since we've got this beautiful vista. So let's see, maybe these three would be good. So let's see. Maybe travel the world over to find the beautiful. I'm not going to adhere it down too hard. I'm going to have to kind of skip around because of the birds. Always take the scenic route. I think there and there. And then maybe down here. Life was meant for a great adventure. How's that looking? Do I need something else in here? I don't think so though, because if I do put another one in here, even a short one is going to cover up the birds, and I really don't want to. So I think I'm going to leave it like that, but I need to do the date. So let me grab my date stamp, and I'm thinking maybe just right over here would be a good place to do the date today. So today is July 8th, so let me just turn that, in 2022. I'm using some Ranger Archival Black ink, which is acid-free, permanent, and waterproof, and I'm going to ink that up. Actually, maybe I'll put it right here where these white things are. I think it'll be really visible right there. And hopefully I get this good this time. Okay. I usually do have to do a little bit of fixing. So let me grab a black. I'm going to use my Micron pen. And I will fix the 8 carefully. And also the 2022, just so you can see it a little bit more legibly. All right, anything else? Maybe some white splatter because of the ocean. It might look like sea spray. That might be cool. So I'm going to take some of my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, get that mixed up a bit. So I'm just going to take some of this. It's pretty thick in the lid, but I'm going to put it on an acrylic block. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Just to thin it out slightly so it'll flow nicely. And let's try it over here first. Not too much. You know, I think I need a little bit more water. It still feels kind of thick. Maybe just that, you know, I don't know if I really want too much of it in the sky. Maybe just a few taps, but not too much there. I think I'm happy with that. And I think that's going to be it for today. So let me lift that up so you can see that a little bit closer. See all of that detail. I think it turned out really nice and summery, and it definitely reminds me of that vacation to Captiva Island. So I'm going to treasure this page for sure. Plus it just also brings the summer vibes. Summer is my favorite season. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and hanging out. I really, really appreciate it. Please leave me a comment down below and just let me know how you're doing, what you've been up to, how you're spending the summer, your favorite vacation, anything. I just love to get to know you guys better. So thank you. I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.